Hello and welcome to the Poverty Franchise Podcast. It's PJ once again. After another good week of NFL football and football as a whole, I'm here to talk about a little bit about it. And starting with the scores recaps and the winners and losers. The winners will be the Bengals, Vikings, Falcons, Titans, Cowboys, Seahawks, Chargers, Giants, Eagles, Jets, Bills, Cardinals, Packers, Raiders, Chiefs, Niners, with your losers being Dolphins, Saints, Browns, Colts, Commanders, Lions, Texans, Bears, Jags, Steelers, Ravens, Panthers, Patriots, Broncos, Buccaneers, and Rams. A few things I'd like to talk about is Saints, welcome to the Double Doink Club. It's a fun time out here. It sucks. At least you didn't lose a playoff game. You lost a regular season game in London. So it could be worse. Could also be better, but it could be worse. You guys dropped to 1-3 if I'm not mistaken, and that's not where I envisioned the Saints. I actually envisioned the Saints at this point of the season being second in the NFC South. That's the Falcons, who are 2-2 through some small miracle. Marcus Mariota and the defense are trying really hard. No Cordero Patterson this week for the Falcons. They won their game against the Browns, which I thought this was both games. I said the Browns are going to lose so far when I did the preseason preview. They've won, and the two games I said they were definitely going to win, they're were pushovers. They lost. So after the horrendous blown lead to the Jets, they drop a game to the Falcons, which in this league you really can't do it. Tyler Algier has a great first start performance. That guy out of BYU, good back. When he was in college, I remember watching a couple of his games. 1,800 yards on the ground and 23 TDs. This is the long-term option for Wentz because Cordero's over 30. For Cordero Patterson, I think he'll be with the Falcons for a long time. At least he might get a second contract with them. So that's good for the Falcons. Again, they're 2-2. They should be tanking this year. Will it last? Who the fuck knows? Really, with this, the league is crazy. It always is crazy. And, they have the Buccaneers next week, so sorry to say. They have the Buccaneers, Niners, and Bengals in a row. They're not going to be 500. And the Panthers, okay, let's just say I'll add the fourth game. They're not going to be 500 after this. My predictions, they go 1-3, but I've been wrong. I've been wrong a lot, so the Falcons could end up winning this. Also, we're drinking water today. Hydration is key. Other than talking about that, there's only one undefeated team left in the league. It's not a team I thought was going to be undefeated. It is a team I thought was going to win the division, the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Jags look good, also top of their division right now. The Jags look good. The Jags looked really good. I still think they're a year away from contending, maybe. They need a couple more pieces. Their offense they need to shore up their line, get themselves a solid check down tight end and a number 2 receiver, and they'll be good to go. In terms of, and on defense, they need some defensive backs, they need some corners, but I think they're well on their way. They could make the playoffs this year with how weak the NFC South is. I thought they were going to be the second to last team because I knew the Texans were going to be awful. The only team now without a win in the NFL since the Raiders did win their game against the Chargers. I'm probably wrong about that. Oh, I feel bad. Oh, did they play the Chargers? No, the Chargers played Texans. I'm sorry. Who did the Colts? Yes. With the Colts experiment not looking too great in hindsight either. But the Jags, again, they can keep Trevor Lawrence upright a bit more. Their two-headed rushing attack is good. They're going to need another receiver other than Christian Kirk. Evan Ingram is really not the option. Marvin Jones, I haven't really been seeing it this year out of him either. It's on the year. He's only 4 games in. He only has 11 receptions and 104 yards. And that's not the Marvin Jones I know. The Marvin Jones Jr. I knew was a damn near 1,000-yard receiver. He was the number 2 target, and last year he was, but he's 32 years old. Could just be on the wrong timeline. You have Kirk, who's actually playing really good. He's kind of living up to that contract, and I'm pleasantly surprised by that. Because he's a guy who never hit 1,000 yards before, and they gave him all that money. The 4 games, he has 20 catches, 327, and 3 TDs. His career high is 6 in a season. His career high in yards is 982. He's well on his way for breaking both of those, if all stays right. But they're gonna need those are their 2. They got their first the line, and kind of everything comes down. The second priority should be that number 2 receiver. Should they look in the draft and free agency? Probably, but that's to be determined. That's getting into the weeds a bit. But they're tied for the top of the division with the Titans. Titans have righted the ship a bit. When Derrick Henry plays good, the Titans play good. But that's their biggest weakness. That's also their biggest weakness. They rely solely on the run game. Losing A.J. Brown, who the Eagles picked up, I forgot to mention the Eagles. The Eagles, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, second, probably one of the better receiving duos in the league. I'm not going to say they're the second best, because I know the best one is Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. There's nothing you can tell me otherwise. With Buffalo has, Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis. Please tell me that's his name. Yeah, that's a real good combo. Jamison Crowder did just get hurt, though, so that's going to be a bit of a problem for him. They're getting a bit thinner there at receiver, but they still have Dawson Knox, they have Stephon Diggs. They should be fine. They pull out a close one against the Ravens, who are also now 2-2. The Bills riding the ship after getting beat the week before. The Dolphins dropped their game when they're starting Teddy Bridgewater. That was kind of expected with the whole Tua situation. I'm glad he's okay, by the way. All right, they dropped the game because of the Tua situation, really, because, he was fucking concussed to all hell. I don't know how he got onto the field that day. The Bengals also have righted their ship after a rough Super Bowl hangover. The Rams have not really righted the ship yet in that same token on the Super Bowl hangover. Bailey Zapp looked really good for the Patriots. I'm jumping between a lot of different games, a lot of topics. Bear with me. It's just what I do. It's how I do. They're going to need Mac Jones healthy to really make a run in their division there. Because the AFC East is their last. The Jets are 2-2. They beat the Steelers. Also, the Steelers start Kenny Pickett. I was wrong about Mitch Trubisky. I really was. I thought he could do it there. Matt Nagy was a shit coach, but Mitch Trubisky was still not a number 2 overall quarterback. That was a bit of copium on my part. I will apologize for that. Dallas is 3-1 with Cooper Rush winning those 3 games. There's a little bit of a controversy brewing there. I think it's a no-brainer. I think you go back to Dak when he comes back, and unless Dak plays horrendously, he loses you football games, you stick with Dak. But it's good to know that A, Cooper Rush is there, and B, Cooper Rush is going to get paid after this season. The Commanders, who I thought were actually going to be not the worst team. I thought the Giants were going to be the worst team because the Giants are 3-1. God damn it, I hate Chicago Bears, but we'll get to that. Also, Brandon Marshall jersey, best receiver in Chicago Bears history. That is really sad to say out loud. Carson Wentz is a shit quarterback. I don't know how much of it is Ron Rivera's fault or the management's fault. I like to blame management ownership on Washington's problems. The defense has the talent. I mean, Chase Young hasn't appeared yet. He's on IR. I think he's going to be coming off IR. Might come in next week. But it's really the offense. I hope the rookie running back who got shot comes back. Oh my lord, I'm dropping his name. He's looking like he's going to play next year. Not next week. Next week. Sorry, I'm just going to look that up real quick because I feel bad. I forgot his name. Brian Robinson Jr. might be coming in to play for the Titans. That might shoot a little bit of life into their... Oh, that was a terrible pun. I am so sorry. Being canceled, am I? But inject a little life into that offense. But I think the Commanders are just a sucky football team. Tank for Bryce Young. Pray you get him. Don't ruin him, though. And then the Seahawks and Lions had the shootout of the week. 48-45. Seahawks win. The Lions have the best offense in football, are yet 1-3 because their defense is horrendously bad. They have no pass rush other than Aiden Hutchinson. I like Rodriguez in the linebacking core. Y'all who watch Hard Knocks, he's a great personality and a great football player, but they're going to need a bit more help there. Okudah is looking a lot better this year as well. Malcolm Rodriguez is his name. Aiden Hutchinson, after that 3-sack game, has no sacks in any other games. Now is against a pretty crappy Commanders line. So we're going to have to see more out of him too. But he's a rookie and he shows great promise. So we'll see. He's going to go against weaker lines in the Patriots and Cowboys, and against weaker quarterback play as well. Because he went against Jalen Hurts week 1, mobile quarterback, great offensive line. Commanders, he went against Carson Wentz, nigga holds onto the ball for a century. He went against Kirk Cousins and not prime time. And he did go against a weaker Seahawks line with Geno Smith, but Geno Smith just plays out of his fucking mind when it's a bad team. So I am pleasantly surprised in Jeff Okudah this year. He has 3 pass defenses. He has no NOs yet, but he doesn't really need to get them because he's not playing so bad this year. His completion percent, he only has 243 yards on him in 4 games. That's not bad. Completion percentage is low. Yards targeted are all career lows. QB rating, passing them is an all-time low. So as long as he keeps doing that, I think, again, maybe 3 years is really what we need to be judging people on in the National Football League, of how long it takes, unless they're just offensively bad. Hell, Tanner Muse got into the game with the Seahawks, which is fucking wild. But hey, at least the Lions' offense is good. Then to talk about my team. Loss of the Giants. Hurts. This is the team that did take a last-minute field goal to beat the Texans, so I shouldn't have expected much. It was a fucking mid-off. Justin Fields only completing 50% of his passes, sacked 6 times, added 52 yards on the ground, but Khalil Herbert had a good game, 77 on the ground with 19 attempts. Not quite that 4 yards of carry we'd like to see, but he also added 1 reception for 24. Darnell Mooney finally came alive this game, 94 yards. Cole Kmet still fucking mid. Daniel Jones only passed for 71 yards, but rushed for 68 and 2 TDs. Saquon had himself a day, 146 yards on the ground. I want Cole Kmet gone. I just want the nigga. He's like, at this point, he's like Kendall Vilder to me. Get that motherfucker out of here, bro. Just get him out. Jaquan Brisker is still looking really strong. I think the combo of Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker for the next few seasons. I don't think Eddie Jackson's getting a 3rd contract with the Bears, at least a 3rd long-term contract. But Jaquan Brisker, from what I've seen so far, I think the Bears, once they pay Roquan Smith, hopefully by the end of the year. And then I don't really know much how Justin Fields is going to get out of this, but Justin Fields is not playing good this year. I mean, the man has a 50% completion rating, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And it's just not, you see the promise, right? Like, you see it in some of the throws. The promise is there, right? The problem is that it's just not quite, it's happening too far in between. He's not stringing together anything. I don't know if it's the coaching, if it's the play calling. It is a little bit of that. It's a little bit that the line is dog water. It's that he has a number 2 receiver at almost any other football team in the league as his number 1, and Quimius, who's a number 4, as his number 2, and then a bunch of people who would be training camp fodder, 6 gunners on special teams type dudes as the rest of his receivers. A tight end who came out as a pass catching savant tight end type guy who can't do shit. Running backs are good though, and the line can run block their ass off. But my thoughts really on the Bears are, oh man, we're gonna need some receivers, and I'll be doing draft previews. Jackson Smith and Jabba is probably the top of the wish list. When the college football really, after when the weeks develop, I'd like Zay Flowers on the team a lot from Boston College. I watched him play live here when he played against Clemson at Boston College. I'll get to see him play against Clemson next week, actually, or this Saturday when they play. Also, shout out Clemson, fuck NC State. You know how it go. But really, the other prevailing storylines, the Bengals are kind of back. The Matt Ryan experiment isn't really working. The Texans are in the tank for Bryce Young tree. I don't think Davis Mills is a starting quarterback. I thought I saw a little more. I thought there was an inkling of one there. Not quite. The Rams don't drop to 0-4, which kind of saves their playoff hopes already. The Raiders don't drop to 0-4, which kind of saves their playoff aspirations. Russ was able to cook fucking something for once. I'm very proud of him. He cooked something above a room temperature meal, but Justin Jacobs had his breakout game, 144 yards on the Josh Jacobs breakout game, 144 yards. Getting all my names mixed up today. And I'm gonna go back to the Steelers game because Zach Wilson did play actually really well against a formidable defense. But we're going back to the Broncos Raiders. Russell Wilson cooks above a room temperature meal, but it's not enough because his defense finally fails him. The Raiders' offense clicks in, gets their win. Again, they're gonna have to I think they're gonna have to get above 500 before they lose another game. So they're gonna have to win the next 3 weeks, string together a 4-game winning streak to get back in the hunt. But now that's that. We can go look at the Week 5 matchups. So, in Week 5, we have the Colts-Broncos are the Thursday night game. I think the Broncos should win that. I think Matt Ryan's kind of cooked. The Colts' defense is dealing with a myriad of injuries. And if Jonathan Taylor ain't in, it's like Derrick Henry. Put that shit to bed. Might as well not play it. The Giants-Packers are in London Sunday morning. I think the Packers will win, just a little suspicion. The Giants QBs, Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor, are banged up. Saquon, God be with you, lad. Sunday, Bills, Steelers. That's a hell of a environment to start Kenny Pickett in his first start. The Bills will win. I just hope Kenny Pickett plays good. Chargers, Browns. I think the Chargers will win, even though they're injured to hell and back. Texans, Jags. Jags should win that easily. Bears, Vikings. I think the Vikings will win that game. Even with Dalvin Cook being a little banged up, probably will play. Or will he play? I don't know if he got put on IR or not. Yeah. He'll hardly play, but he's a little banged up, but still won't really matter. Kyler Gordon's gonna have a god-awful assignment with Justin Jefferson, so prayers up for me. Seahawks, Saints, with the way Geno Smith's playing, and they're probably going to be starting Andy Dalton again, I think the Seahawks will probably win that game. The Lions, they can stop Bailey Zapp. They'll please win. Please win one game. Dolphins, Jets, I think the Dolphins will win that game. Falcons, Buccaneers, I think Tom Brady with his newly divorced self, or about to be divorced self, should win that game. Titans, Commanders, Derrick Henry should run all over Washington. Niners, Panthers, the one topic I didn't fire Matt Rule. I still don't think it's Baker Mayfield's fault. They don't want Sam Darnold. 49ers will win, though. Coming off of that hot win against the Rams. Because I was looking at the Eagles-Cardinals matchup. I think the Eagles should win that game. I think the Eagles will go to 5-0. I don't know when the Eagles' first loss will be. It could very well be against the Cardinals. They have a good enough offense. The Cowboys, not in Philly, not the Steelers, it's either going to be this game or the Cowboys will be there, is where I'll pick their first loss. So you're going to go 4-1 this week, or they're going to be 5-1 will be their next, because they have the Steelers, Texans, Commanders, and Colts next in those next weeks. Then they'll have the Packers, and that would put them at a ridiculous 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'd put them at 11-0 going into that matchup. I don't think they're going to last to 11-0. I think they probably will drop one of those games. The Steelers defense will be getting healthier. The Commanders, it might the Texans could be a trap game. I know that's more of a college saying, but at home in Houston, a bit lesser opponent. But I think they'll beat the Cardinals this week. Cowboys, Rams. I think the Rams are still going to flounder a bit. I think the Cowboys are riding a bit of a hot streak on the backs of their defense and Cooper Rush. Bengals, Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to win this game. I think they're coming back with a fire after blowing the game to the Bills. They're still injured to hell and back, too, as they are every year, it seems. And then the Monday night game, Raiders, Chiefs. I think the Chiefs will win this one. They're coming off their big win against the Buccaneers. As I said, the Raiders do have to win that game, though. The Raiders do have to win this game. It's must win. I don't think they're going to win it because I don't really have much faith in Josh McDaniels. They should be getting Hunter Renfrow back. They might get Rock Ya-Sin back in full strength to help out. But they can't. I don't think they can drop to 1-4 because after that, if they can win against the Chiefs, they go on their bye. Week 6. And week 7 and 8, they have the Texans and Saints. There we go. They're 4-3 again. They just got to get through the Chiefs. They have the Jags in Jacksonville, in Duval. That's a tough game. But they can get up to 5-3 at the end of this. And then they have the Colts. They have the Broncos, the Seahawks. Their schedule isn't that hard on paper. They just have to, but it's hard to win a football game in the National Football League. Because they still got to play the Chiefs twice, counting next week, of course. They got the Rams. They'll have the Steelers defense to deal with. If Russell Wilson is cooking now and Nathaniel Hackett ain't holding them back, they might do something. They might do a little something. Don't really want to talk that much college football other than shout out Kansas for finally getting ranked in game day, going over to them. Shout out Oklahoma State for being the Big 12's only hope. Shout out UCLA for their big win over Washington as well. Coastal, good win out there. Only 2 undefeated teams left in South Carolina. Let's go. And then that's really it. Mizzou almost did it, but Georgia was able. That's a classic of classic trap games on the road in Missouri. I wouldn't want to be there either. But that's all there is to say about the NFL. Shout out all my other teams. Shout out the Bulls. Preseason basketball is coming back. NBA season preview coming in the next week. I want to get it out before the regular season starts. Shout out Man City. You're still second on the table against Arsenal, but that's done. That's not NFL football. I shouldn't be talking about it. It's been PJ on the Poverty Franchise Podcast, signing off.